gentlemen. Let me tell you, okay, you have one you want to say, I think.
Yeah.
Tell us. Yes.
It was a mistake getting in there. As libertarians, you know what? I am completely confused as an individual and a libertarian is what the hell do we do now, folks?
Well, if we wave the white flag, we're going to be looked upon as nobody. And if we stay, we're going to be looked upon as nobody. So we're between the rock and the hard place right now.
I'm glad you brought that up, and I have two other things to bring up.
Because that kind of culminates with post-colonial foreign policy, doesn't it?
Sure. If you look back at Vietnam, what I'm about to say might not seem to hold up, and it may well be that it doesn't, but I would like to believe, and in fact, this gentleman may be correct, that we're going to make the same idiotic mistakes every 30 years, but I like to think I'm seeing in the enormous poll numbers of Americans who are very disgusted and unhappy with Iraq, a larger realization of the folly of foreign interventionism. It may well be that they're going to forget, just like we seem to have forgotten after the early 70s. But right now, I think it's actually a great wedge issue. The other two major governmental crises, and you could sort of conflate them as one, is Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. We are going to see those systems as they're currently constituted become clearly untenable in most of our lifetimes. It could end up going in a worse direction. It could be that, thanks to the intellectual work that libertarians have done, people can take a more pro-freedom way out of that system and say, yes, go on.
Although it does lead to one optimistic point, because I need at least one voter registration change form from a fellow who doesn't think the Republicans or the Democrats have the answer in Iraq, so at least, you know, that got us one tonight. So, I don't know what our answer is, but at least we're attracting Democrats and Republicans because of Iraq, so becomes in a bad way to this for us.
I hope it becomes thus.
I was wondering, from your perspective, how influential are the libertarian think tanks like Reason Foundation, like Cato Institute, at the national political level?
The Reason Foundation, for whom I work, I have to get that on the table, explicitly aims its policy work. I mean, the magazine end, which is where I work, we're aiming at a general intellectual conversation, you know, thinkers, readers, etc. The foundation end explicitly aims itself at state and local governments, municipal privatization issues, traffic issues, and the like, and they have actually been very successful on that level. Your Cato's aim more at national policy. The one, and you know, libertarians have to take our apparent successes where they can get them. Cato's biggest area of impact, which hasn't actually worked out well so far, is they were the group who have been laying forth Social Security privatization plans since 1982, and a somewhat bastardized version of that was what Bush brought forward as his failed policy. But we need to wait for the crisis on that. What happened with that is a lot of people got very confused about what might need to happen in order to rescue or maintain Social Security. When the day comes when that particular illusion has been completely dispelled, that's when I think you'll see the success. And again, if you measure any of these things in, is a certain government policy absolutely gone in a libertarian direction, you hardly see any of that. If you ask, are libertarian ideas taken more seriously, understood better, more part of the conversation, we've made great progress, and you do have to remember that that's always the first step in an ideological change, that socialist ideas had taken over the intellectual and chattering classes before they took over the government, and I do believe that we are seeing some victories on the taking over the chattering classes aspect of it. I say this as a member of the chattering classes, and I will also say this. I'm sure many of you can throw things at me that sound like good reasons for despair, and I'm not ignorant of these reasons. However, I do think it's bad for your own mind and your own spirit to focus too much on those things. The future is always uncertain, and I think a certain belief, whether it be solidly grounded or quixotically optimistic, is extremely vital for moving forward in the world.
Eugene, yes.
Yes, I think if a change is going to come, it's going to come one way and one way only. It's got to come via the internet. Right? Under any electoral system where the voters are unassembled, the people who control the information control everything. And the corporate media is so tied up with the state, and the corporate media is effectively a state church. The psychological power supporting the coercive power. But we have a situation now where we have a dispersed media once again on the internet. And what struck me in the 20 years since I'm in this country, in the last 5, 6 years, is the level of dissent. If we can harness that dissent and do it properly, then we can all of a sudden we can get from here to here. Because when voters drop a party, look at it historically, and pick up another party, they do it very quickly. Look at when the Whig Party was dropped in the 1850s, the Republican Party instead. The Federalist Party before that. If you look at when the Liberal Party was dropped in Britain in 1945 and the Labour Party taken up, the same thing happened in Ireland. There was an old nationalist party in 1918, just wiped off the electoral rolls. Sinn Féin Party took over. Same thing happened in Ireland in 2001. The modern Sinn Féin took over from a party called the L.P. almost in one election. The Nazi Party in Germany. It happens awfully fast when it happens. So, two things I'd say. Use the internet and be ready.
I will merely respond to that with an amen and a quick, yeah, this is a lesson that contemplating my book's history really drilled. The internet is such an amazing invention for the dissemination of ideas, the gathering of people, and the raising of money, the three things that marginalized political movements need the most. And yeah, it absolutely is vital and key, and we all need to learn to use it to maximal effectiveness.